People of God, you know what I want to say right quick? I'm gonna go lay my tail down some more after this. I just had me and Monte and Dane just had us some sweet potatoes baked. But I want to say this right here to my sisters. I saw your comment, two of you. You were saying how you were going through some situations. One of you, I think, is your neighbor who's older, and she's monitoring you. And one of you, you said somebody's on your job. And I think it was another sister. You said the lady who's 60 is doing something or has been doing some things. Age is really nothing but the number. That does not mean that age should define healing, or people who are older than you, or everyone who's older than us is going to be motherly to us. Sometimes we look for that, it would be nice. The Bible says the older should teach the younger. But sometimes you have a lot of unhealed people as well. And I think a lot of people are working on their healing in this day and time. A lot of people are learning. A lot of the people that hurt many of you, they're learning, and a lot of us are still learning. I know I'm still learning things about myself as I continue to grow daily. I think healing is a lifelong process. Healing and growing, evolving is always lifelong, and we're always going to be learning, right? None of us are perfect. And so what I want to say about the sisters that are dealing with some things from the older sisters, younger sisters who are dealing with that, you're not the only one. But I think sometimes, if this helps, I'm not trying to make excuse for anything, because I myself have been dealing with stuff. Even just yesterday there was something, um being transparent a little bit. There was something, someone who I actually look up to for many years. We were like sisters. She's very, very professional. Owns a very professional business. I've always supported that business for many years, well over about maybe about 20 years or so. So we have been supposed to there's supposed to be love there. But yesterday I received, the way I was received a message, and it was so cold, it was so mean, it was so disrespectful. And um it was it was like it was just it was no regard for the issue that I had brought up a few days prior, just trying to, you know, um, hold this individual accountable about something I found out, um, that was just not fair to me. But they didn't want to hear that. It was a situation that happened a couple of weeks ago where the individual just kind of gaslighted me on some things, and they were very rude and agitated. I didn't understand why. I was trying to ask questions, but sometimes people will get agitated with you so that you can shut up and just go along with what they say. And I never had this type of transaction with this individual before, and it was around money. um but I was trying to just get some clarity or confusion of, I was confused. I'm still confused about what was being, well, I'm not as confused I was from yesterday, but I was still confused about what was being asked of me. And I wanted understanding because I didn't think that this should have been asked of me. And there was a bit of attitude there, so I just left it alone and accepted what was said, primarily because respecting the fact of, you know I just someone that I've always looked up to. They're professional, they're doing well to do. But then after praying about it, and thinking over some things and reflecting back on all of the conversations, I was able to put two and two together, and I realized, wait a minute, this shouldn't be like this. This is not fair to me. It's not right. And so when I made this individual aware, like, I see what's being done now. This is not fair. I'm kind of disappointed in, this is this, and this is this, and this is what you said, and this is blah blah blah. Um, that individual, the way they responded was like, I didn't feel like there was any love there. And I had a brother, he said that, he said, that's never been your friend. He said, that's an enemy to God. He said, because I know you, you are a woman of God. He said, I know you, I know your character. You are a woman of God. And for a response like that, that's an enemy to God. And my cousin, she was telling me, because I was just so shocked. I was taken back by the thing. It actually hurt me, but I didn't stay there. I continued to work. And sometimes I think I make life look easier than it really is, because I will just go on and keep myself occupied, and I don't stay and sit and think about those certain painful things. I just try to keep finding something to do, because I think when we are productive, we are getting other things done, your mind can't be in two places at one time. You can't be in a place of pain and despair and or thinking about what someone's done to you. That'll slow you down. You have to focus. So if you're still able to focus and keep going, then you're not in that place, and that's just how I make sense of it. um but my cousin, one thing we were talking about, she said greed, you know greed just brings out worse in people, and it does. Sometimes when somebody is greedy, or there's a love, the Bible tells us, what the Bible says is just clear as day. The love of money. It did not say money is the root of all evil. There's some people, they deliberately want to misquote that scripture, and they will say, "Oh, people, Christians always be looking down on money and stuff like that." And some of y'all who call yourself Christians, stop letting people talk down to you. Stop letting even other believers who have gone off and made a lot of money, stop letting them dangle their money in front of your face and making you chase after them and giving them some of your money so they can teach you how to get what they got. Because if they really got it like that, they wouldn't have to extract nothing from you. They would just be able to pour out that knowledge and keep doing what they do, because God has blessed them so much abundantly, right? So why do they need something from you? That's just my little 2 cents. But stop letting people talk down on you. Oh, y'all Christians broke. Y'all Christians always this because y'all do this. Stop letting people speak them curses over you. Follow the word of God and be content in your lane. You don't know how people get what they get, right? But I've heard people do that a lot. And the Bible clearly tells us the love of money is the root of all evil. Loving money is the root. That's what grows and breeds evil. When you're in love, think about when you fall in love with a man, or you fall in love with a woman. You know, you're caressing each other. You're sharing bodies with each other. You're doing things. You just want to always touch and feel. And when you fall in love with God, think about when you fall in love with God, when you always want to read that word and stay intimate with him. You want to sometimes, even you can be around people, but then you want to get back to a place where you can get by yourself, so you can just walk around in your house singing, reading the Bible, or have your quiet time where you can really process and hear the voice of God, or listen to that feel good spirit, that joy that comes on you. You know how God interacts with you. Think about when you really love something, you know, you want more of it. You want to spend time with it. You become absorbed a little bit in that thing. And so think about when somebody loves money. See, you can't make friends with people who love money. I don't want nobody in my life who love money. I already had them kind of folk. I already know what it feel like to be connected with people who love money. I already know what the love of money can lead people to do. And then I've seen another bright side of people who don't love money, but they make money, and they get out here and they have a good heart. They have good energy. The money don't really make them, you know, because it's just a piece of paper. And no matter how much you got in your bank account, there's still something that you can't take back with you to that next life. True rich and true abundance is on the inside, is in the fruits of the spirit, right? And so, um, sometimes when people have that love for money, you really see the dark side of them. They want what they want. They don't care who they have to step on, and there is no type of communication with them. And it's unfortunate when you learn these type of things about people, after you have developed love, and a lot of love and respect and honor for them. Some people, they value money over everything. And how can you I think it's dangerous to build with people like that. I think it's dangerous to connect with people like that, because they can betray you for money. If you got, if you're doing good, and let's say you got a friend, y'all been tight. If someone else come along with a little more money than you and they don't like you, that person could buy your friend off to sell you out. If that friend is a lover of money, they going after who paying the most money, baby. They don't care about you. And you could have been supporting them for many, many years. You could have had their back, but because you ain't got what this next person got, they done trade you off, because that next person came and was able to give them a little bit more. You see? So just be mindful of that. And I think that when people, sometimes it's not easy for some people, I don't really think it's a, maybe it could be an age thing sometimes, but I don't really think that has anything to do with it. There are some people who just don't like, or who are not good at being held accountable when, or sometimes people can feel embarrassed. It's not good, doesn't feel good if you've done somebody wrong, and you want to make that thing right. I know I would. I can't sleep at night if I do something wrong to somebody, and you come to me, because sometimes we can do things and we can be unaware. But when somebody has intentionally tried to do something to you, that you were able to uncover, and it's blatantly obvious, and you go to them and you let them know, this is what you did, this is what happened, and I'm very disappointed in you. And when they respond to you with wrath and anger, and if they insult you, that is not love. They will not allow themselves to be held accountable. They do not love you, and they probably never had love for you. You just never were able to pick up on it. And I know it can be a hard pill to swallow, but it is what it is. It's best we recognize the thing for what it is, and then move on, and try to make wiser decisions in the future. Or just, like I said, you don't do business with people that love money. So you have to vet people, test people, and that takes time. You need to see how people are going to react. Anybody can sing your praises and tell you that they love you and that they support you while you are supporting them, or while you are giving them something that they want, right? But what about when you pull back? Are they going to even notice you? Do they even care about you? What will they do? Is it just like you were just another number? That means they never even saw you, right? And many of you, you're so valuable. Some of you, I don't even think you realize how valuable just you are. Doesn't matter about the clothes you wear. Don't matter about the house you live in. It don't matter about the car you drive. It don't matter about how much money you have. Let me tell you, when you got righteousness in you, when you got love in your heart, when you got a nurturing, wise spirit, like I have my cousin who I always talk about, and I have my aunt's children, they're all just so loving. But one of my cousins, she is a wife, but she's single. She's never been married. Um, but she's just, every time I listen to her, and then she sent me a picture of something she made for dinner the other day. She listens so well. She has a gentle spirit. She love to laugh, but she is just a wife, and she's unfounded. She's not been discovered by a husband. She's been discovered by some men who just, you know, but she ain't been discovered by a husband. And she is just so precious. And I always tell her that these men don't know what they missing, girl. They don't know what they missing. Her spirit is so nurturing. She's a mother and she's never bore children. She has so much wisdom and understanding on the inside of her. She told me this a few years ago. The people need to be encouraged. The people need to be encouraged. And she's very shy. I'm trying to encourage her to start something, um, where she just talks to people. She has a gift on the inside of her. And so many of you, you have gifts on the inside. You have a pureness of heart. Don't you know you're rare? That's rare in the world. The Bible says in the last days people love will wax cold. Many of you, you're selfish people. When you come along, you brighten up a room. When you see something somebody's doing and you start supporting somebody, or you push what they got going forward, you add prosperity to it. You give them a level of encouragement. You shine a light that encourages so many people. Many brothers and sisters have told me over the years of my life how I've encouraged the men and women, you know, and I'm happy to help my brothers and sisters. And you have sometimes that make you want to not do what you do, that will try to discredit you, that will try to take from you, that'll treat you so mean, that you can see that's learning from you, but they don't even like you at the same time. Or they try to act like you ain't nothing. They'll take something from you and go give somebody else the credit. You see stuff like that, and it's like, wow. And some of them, they built themselves up in a higher position than you. And so you say, well, Dad, well, how did you get there then? If you're doing that to me, then that means you done did it to other people, so you ain't got there the right way. But don't let that stop you from being a good person. You're valuable. Many of you are valuable, and people love you. The wrong darkness of love they attract to you too. Why? Because people who have not really found themselves yet. They want some people want you to fix them, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense, but there's some people they want you to fix them, and you'll find yourself so drained so much, and nobody's pouring back into you. You know, so you have to preserve yourself. But many of you, you're so valuable. What you have on the inside of you, some things just come naturally to you. Some of you, you just got a love for God's people. Me personally, I always had this a very special place in my heart for the younger and for the older. So I got my CNA license years ago. I accidentally let it expire. I was so busy, I forgot to get online and just renew it. It didn't take much to renew it, and I won't dare go back to that class to renew that because I got so many other things that I'm working on. But I had that license not because it was a breadwinning job, but because it was in my heart to be there in many of those facilities with those people. I've done home health care. I've worked at many assistant living, total care facilities. I've worked with many disability boards. I've done a lot for the elderly. And like I said, not because it was my bread and butter, but because I had a full career while I was doing these things. I did that on the side. There were sometimes before I started keeping the Sabbath, there was sometimes I used to work 7 days straight. I'm like, I ain't got no kids. I ain't got nothing to do, you know? And so I spent time teaching. I taught preschool, did a lot of things. My heart was always with the youth and always with the elders. The young folk coming in the world, they're innocent. They're innocent. They're as pure as can be. And the enemy likes to attach to our young folk. So if I can encourage them and kind of stir their minds on the right way, and help the young people keep their minds in a pure place, because they're under attack. And then the elderly, as folk get much older, they become a little vulnerable. So they need people in their corner that's going to love them and help support them. And you have some elderly, some who never had children, you know, and so they need extra help. But yeah, that's what always been where my heart has always been. But so many of you who had these experiences, when folk don't allow you to hold them accountable, my 2 cents, that's not love. But however, I want you to also have grace, always be respectful to any of your elders, but I want you to have grace and mercy, be forgiving, even if you have to come out from among them. But like what happened with me with my older sister, what she did, that was totally unacceptable. It was disrespectful. It was very hurtful. The things she said to me was very, very hurtful, because this is somebody who I hold in high regard and I've supported for many years. And there's never been any type of animosity. Only when a situation arises and I had questions and I needed to, something didn't seem like it was fair to me. And so I was trying to explain. And that's how I got treated. Very cold, very harsh, very cruel. And sometimes, and this is not me trying to make excuses for anybody that's done anything wrong, because we all should be held accountable and take responsibility when we do something. But sometimes people can be embarrassed that they were in a position. And rather than be calm and be slow to speak and take time to pray before they respond to you or approach you, sometimes they will lash out at you with all the pain that's on the inside of them. And again, I'm not trying to make excuses or make light of anything that anyone is doing, because, we're all adults. We know right from wrong. But sometimes people will lash out with you at you and project their pain onto you, and that's not really what they really should be doing, or sometimes really not. They're avoiding accountability, but they may come around after some time and make it right. But in the event that they don't, I think we free ourselves when we just forgive and just move around them, and just wash our hands and keep going. That's what I'm going to do. Um, and that's what I've been doing a lot of times in my life. That's what else can you do? You can't make anyone be accountable or address something that they want to neglect or deny. And so you just have to move around people. And everyone is going to have an opinion in this day and time. But you know what serves you and you know what don't serve you, and don't let anybody gaslight you and make you believe that something is what it's really not. Call things out the way they are. We all deserve to be loved. We all deserve to be treated with respect, you know, and we deserve to be honored. Give honor where honor is due. I believe in that. We deserve that, but not everyone in the world has that same mindset, right? There are takers in the world. As we just read earlier, what we read in Matthew, that there have been tares that have been sown amongst the wheat. And so, as we discover the wheat, many of us are being able to see a lot of tares in this time, but I don't want our hearts to be bitter and to be hateful. We can be bold, because a lot of times when people think you are a believer, a Christ follower, they try to look over you, or they think that they can just treat you any kind of way. But God's people are bold people, baby, and wise people. So you do have to call things out sometimes and put up a standard and a boundary and hold firm to that. I will not allow myself to be disrespected. I will not allow myself to be gaslighted. I know what you've done. If you want to try to make me believe it's something else, you can go somewhere else with your witchcraft, because that's all it is. Manipulation is that of witchcraft. I know what you did. You know what you did. You know what you said. You know I have been nothing but this to you. I've been nothing but good to you. I've been nothing kind to you. And sometimes people, they feel really, really bad when they do good, when they do wrong to a good person. you know I know I would. If I did wrong to somebody who did right by me, I got to make that thing right, baby. I got to make that thing right. I ain't too sorry to say. I'm not too grown to say I'm sorry. And let me tell you something. If I do something wrong, I will beg you to forgive me. If I do something wrong, I will beg you to forgive me. But oftentimes, sometimes people don't express how they feel. They hold things in. Sometimes your words can trigger people, and they will hold things in and never express their offense. They will let it grow and grow into a secret hate or a secret envy for you. I've never been that type of individual. I don't know what it feels like to hate anyone. Sometimes my mouth could get ahead of me, and I could say things that could get me in trouble. And then I later have to backtrack and say, I should not have said that. Or maybe I should have, it's not what I said, it's how I said it. I wasn't trying to come across like that, and it's good when you have somebody that can give you feedback as well, because we're all still trying to grow. But anyway, that's just my little 2 cents. That's all I wanted to share. I'm not gonna stay here. I'm gonna go take me a nap. Oh, I'm gonna go take me a nap. And I hope I wasn't all over the place. I hope that makes sense. I'm not trying to make light of the situation, but just think about it sometimes. Um, some of you who are younger and having these experiences with your elders, treating you some type of way, sometimes they could be, again, I'm not trying to make light of it, but sometimes they could just be astonished at you. And sometimes people will examine your life to theirs, and they start feeling some type of way, which it shouldn't be that way. But you make people reflect sometimes. And some of you, you're like a walking mirror. I'm telling you, you're like a walking mirror. You reflect people back to them. So some people, they do things and they don't think about what they do and what they say, but when they come across little old you, you're like a reflect. They look at you and have to see a reflection. So it's like, wow, they got to deal with it. And if they're not willing to deal with some things, what they do, they may lash out with you. They don't want to take accountability. They may try to make you look like a problem and call you what they really are, project on you. And so you got to have enough discernment, wisdom, love in your heart, thick skin to know that I am not that. I know I'm not crazy. I know what was done to me. I know what was said. I know this is not right. I will not accept this. I know you don't want to take accountability. I'm just going to move around you. Don't become bitter. Don't let your heart become bitter. Always stay in love. And sometimes some of those same folk will reach out to you and they will apologize. It has happened to me countless of times. And sometimes when they apologize, I know one individual that reached out to me and apologized, but I had already forgiven her. But one individual that reached out to me and apologized about something, she was angry in her apology. Now, I couldn't really understand that. Maybe some of y'all, if you got comments, comment on that. But she was angry. You could hear it when she was talking, but she was angry while she was apologizing. So I didn't really feel like it was sincere, but I was already in a place of forgiveness, you know? Cause we're not perfect either. We got things that we got to work through. And oftentimes, when you're by yourself a lot, you don't really have anyone around you. But when you start getting around other people who are healthy and you get around like minded people, that's a lot of times too, we can also learn things about ourselves that we may have not really had anyone to point out, and that we never really knew. And sometimes we can learn new triggers about ourselves, right? Just don't be around people who are intentionally trying to trigger you, who are intentionally trying to mess with your mental, right? But yeah, just that's all I want to say. Never let your heart grow bitter. Always remain in a place of love. Always operate in love, even when there's a lot of evil that comes at us. That's what gives us the upper hand. Love is the DNA of the Father, right? Even when you have to call folk out on things, do that in love. The world is full of people exposing all this backward fighting, people trying to tear other people down and lift themselves up. Go to your brother. The Bible even tells us, go to your brother one on one. If you go to him and he's listened to you, then you have gained your brother. So you go to your brothers and sisters one on one. You don't publicly try to embarrass or tear down nobody's name. That's a murderer. That's character assassination. Even Jesus didn't do that. Jesus taught the word, he taught boldly, but he didn't try to embarrass nobody, and publicly assassinate nobody's character. He kept teaching. Why? Because through knowledge shall the just be delivered. And that's why you will never hear me, if you go back to watch all of my videos from the bottom to the top, baby. If I have mentioned somebody's names, it was because of something positive. And or there was one time I commented on a brother's name because of what he did. um but and that was a couple of, was that last year or this year? But he was already a public figure, well known. I'm not gonna mention the name again, but it was something he did to a sister when she got fired, and then he ended up getting fired, and I commented on that, because that was a prime example. You reap what you sow. But other than that, you will never hear me do that on this channel. um because I'm not looking for publicity. I'm not looking for popularity. I'm not looking to tear my brothers and sisters down. I wish everybody could just come together in love. I will clap back at some people, and they know who they are. But as far as, trying to make somebody look bad, I will never do that, or use my influence to dim somebody else's light. I got too much time on my hand to be trying to do that. I ain't trying to keep nobody down, baby, because you reap what you sow, and what God has for me is for me. What God has for another is for another. I might not agree with everybody, but oh well, everybody's not supposed to agree. We different people, and I'm not gonna try to force myself on into nobody's life who don't agree with me and who I don't agree with. If I spend my time watching and listening to folk, obviously there's something I connect with them about, that I'm in agreement with them about, and I support them. When I support you, if I got your back, I'm in your corner, baby. And if I'm the type of person, if I'm somebody's friend, the only person that can turn me against you is you yourself. I don't care about what nobody could come and tell. Once I got your back, once I'm in your corner, now if you go and you disrespect me and you throw a stone in my face after I have vowed my support for you, like somebody did who I'm not gonna even mention, then I look like Boo Boo the Fool, but I bet I won't do it no more. I bet I won't be Boo Boo the Fool no more, you know. But if I'm in your corner, I got your back. 1,000 can come on the right, 1,000 can come on the left. I don't want to hear none of it. I don't want to hear none of it. Right? I'm not gonna entertain nothing about folk when I'm in your corner and I got your back. That's not me. That's not solid. That's not love to be entertaining. Somebody come to me telling me something about you. Hold that thought. Let me get my sister. Let me get my brother. Now let's talk what you were saying now. And see, most time people go get quiet. See, people gonna get quiet. Now, if we're friends, if we're solid, you should be able to unpack to me. I should be able to unpack to you. There's things that sometimes you want to talk about. I understand those things remain private. But as far as people on the outside, I'm not going to entertain all of that. I'm not going to entertain it, because that's what the enemy does. He likes to divide and he likes to conquer. He likes to divide and conquer, tear down relationships, and we need each other in these times. We should be uplifting one another, building each other up, loving on each other. And when you wrong your brother or sister, stop dodging accountability. Be honest. Stop trying to use manipulation and the craftiness of your mind to make somebody look bad when you know you really misjudged this person, or you know you really didn't treat this person fairly, or you try to use your influence to hurt this person's come up. Take accountability. That's how you build. And if you know somebody is encouraging you, or you know somebody's inspiring you, stop eating off of somebody's plate, stealing from somebody, and trying to knock them down at the same time. How can we come together and shake hands and love on one another when you behind the scenes you acting like you don't see me, but you really do see me? You really do, you take from me, but you act like you don't see me. How can I ever embrace you and trust you? I can't trust you. I can't, But anyway, I ain't meant to go all off to the side. But that's just my little two cents. Don't let your heart turn bitter. Always operate in love. Love is the DNA of the Father. It's the greatest gift of all. And even when sometimes people do you wrong and they come out so mean and evil, it's not really that you've done nothing to them. When they won't, when you try to hold somebody accountable, and you clearly see what they've done, and they come at you so cruel and mean, and sometimes people speak to you at like that from that place of pain, especially sometimes when they're older, like you say, and there sometimes people can be embarrassed that you caught them, or they that you were able to catch on to something that they were doing, and they just don't want to deal with it, so they try to make you look like the problem. I've got a smile on my face, but it can really be painful. I'm speaking from personal experiences. Something just happened to me yesterday, right? But it's cool. Forgiveness keeps you out of bitterness. Doesn't mean you can't talk about it and share it. But anyway, have a blessed day. Continue to enjoy your Sabbath. Your little country bunkin sister loves you, and keep shining bright. Don't ever stop shining.